Hello and welcome to Art with Mrs. G. In this video we're going to be creating a night sky scene with lots of stars in the sky and some planets and the moon, and on the surface of the moon I'm going to create some texture by printing with silver foil. Before I start painting my night sky, I need to have a look at some pictures of the sky to give me some ideas, because it's not just black. Sometimes it's slightly milky or even pink or blue. So let's have a look at some photos of the sky. You can see here that there are very definite patches of milky colours and a bit of blue, together with all the speckled stars, or possibly some purple. And don't forget those lovely shooting stars too. And in the shot of the Milky Way here, you can see there's some browns and pinks creeping in, and even some greens as well. If you have a look at the sky from the ground, you might get a silhouette of the ground and some trees along the bottom, and you can see that the sky is darker at the top, and then it gets paler and milkier blue as you move towards the ground. I really like this idea, and I might use it in one of my pictures. Well, I've got plenty of ideas for my background colours for my night sky. I hope you've chosen some too. I've got some black and blue and white paint ready to go, a nice big paintbrush to spread it over the page, and I'm just going to paint on some scrap paper here. Even better if you could stick 2 sheets of A4 together, because then you can do a lovely scene with lots of planets in it. Palest colours first. I get some white on, swish that across the page, add a bit of blue. Bit of water to keep it moving, and then some black. You can change the angle of the brush sometimes too. You don't always have to go across. You can go diagonally too, just to make it more interesting. And it blends the colours together. I'm going to do a second one with the silhouette of the ground along the bottom. So I've got 2 slightly different pictures to show you. So I'm going to keep it pale down here, as we saw in the pictures, getting a little bit darker as it goes up into the night sky. And then finally add your silhouette of the ground along the bottom in black. You can use the edge of a thin paintbrush or a small paintbrush to add some trees on whilst you're there. Lastly, make your white paint watery and use a small brush and then tap to get your star effect on your background. And if you really wanted the Milky Way across the middle, you could do a stronger stripe across the middle somewhere. I'm adding a little milky red to the sky too, just for interest, because sometimes some stars or planets glow a bit red. While your background is drying, find yourself some circular lids and things of different sizes that you can draw around on a piece of white paper and then cut out, because this is going to be your planets that will stick on afterwards. Take your silver foil now and scrunch it up and try and have a little handle on top and make a sort of printing pad with it. So you squash it flat. There we go. So I have a printing pad with a lovely texture on the bottom. Now I dab on some pale grey paint. So that's white with a little bit of black in it. You can either dip it in the paint or paint it on. And now I'm going to choose my larger shape, I think, for a moon, and dab it on. There we go, and look, you get this lovely effect. Now add just a little bit of black, because the moon, of course, has got some craters on it, hasn't it? So now I add a little bit of black for texture as well. There we go. Now you can either clean your piece of foil if you're very eco, or use another bit if you'd like to do another colour. And here I'm brushing on some red because I'd like a planet that reminds me of Mars, which I believe is a bit red. Now don't let your paint get too watery, otherwise it will just slop on your page. There we go, that's a nice effect. Finally, I'm going to do some yellow, which will show up nicely in my sky. And this time I'm going to drag it across because, as we know, some planets have got lines around them, like Jupiter and Saturn and things. So that's that one. Drag it across. You get this nice scratchy effect. And I might even add just a little bit of red to that to get some other stripes around these planets. Now's a good time to clear up whilst your planets are drying, and then you can come back and stick them onto your background. There's one other really nice idea which I wanted to share with you now, which is if you want a really shiny moon, you could draw around your sellotape or a CD and cut out a circle in silver foil. And then if you find some little round objects like coins, buttons and key rings and things like that, you can make shapes in your silver foil like the craters on the moon, and then we can stick this onto your picture. I drew around a CD, so I'm just going to draw that circle again and then place my circular things, my moon craters, on it. They can overlap as well, which is quite nice, so you get some higher patches. How about that? And then make sure they're all inside the circle, and then press your foil on top to get all of the shapes. There we are. Be very careful when you're gluing this because you don't want to flatten it again. So only put the glue on the flat areas around the edge. To make your moon look like it's glowing, you can very carefully go round the outside of it with a piece of chalk. Turn the page, turn the page, turn the page, and then use a finger to smudge it in and fade it out. Time to stick the planets on the other pictures. First of all, play around with them until you're happy that they're in the right position in your picture. So don't just stick them straight on, have a think where they're going to look best. When I stick this one on, I'm going to have the pale side of this planet facing up to the moon where the light is shining on the surface. Something like that, I think. Glue them on and give them a bit of drying time. I've decided to add a bit of a Milky Way streak to this one. So I'm smudging in some chalk, a bit of white, the odd pink patch there. A little bit of green too, I think. Here are my finished pictures. You can see the Milky Way that I've added on there afterwards. And then I put a little bit of glow around that particular planet because it wasn't showing up very well. That one's glowing, the silver foil. There's my Milky Way streak. And over here it's a little bit simpler with the silhouette and the moon shining in the sky. Well, I hope your planet art is really successful, and why not get creative and add a few other ideas to yours. You could have a rocket ship blasting through space, or you could draw some rings around the planets, or even have some little aliens in spaceships. Have fun, be creative, and I hope to see you back here on Art with Mrs. G another day. Bye!